My name is Mary Wade. I'm the scholarship chair here at Honors Graduation, and I run the Honors Gradu website as well. And Lindsay is here too with us. She's just going to be in the background here, but she's our office manager, and she helps with the scholarship as well. She's on our committee. We'll just dive right in. If we get any new participants, you can feel free to chat any questions or comments, and Lindsay will help us field those. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. So the first question we've seen come up so far is, what is the project checklist for? You've got a checklist. I'm going to click over to it if it'll let me get out of here really quick. Oh, good. There it is. You've got a checklist that we've provided just because we know that this is a much more involved scholarship than most of the essay scholarships that you've come across before. This is a community improvement project scholarship program, and that's a lot of work. And we've adopted the design thinking format to help structure your work. And so I've provided this checklist here to help you just have a breakdown of what all those project phases look like. The look, listen, and observe, ask tons of questions, understand the problem or process, navigate ideas, create a prototype, highlight and fix, and launch to an audience. And I've listed kind of all the requirements, the things that we're going to be looking for in your application that go with each of those. So you definitely want to use that. I also added multimedia required, just so you know from the beginning what we'll be looking for. 5 to 10 pictures of publishable quality. If you are selected as one of our awardees, we do like to share your amazing work online, and we'd like to be able to publish those photos of your work. And then also the requirements for the video reflection that is part of that launch to an audience phase. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, I think, yeah. And then I also just added the deadlines and things. You can submit your strategy plan, which we'll talk about in a minute, early. That is put down as March 23rd, but the strategy plan itself is not optional. That is part of your navigate ideas phase too. So keep that in mind. You are going to need to submit it at one point, but you may submit it early to us for feedback if you'd like. By March 23rd. And then of course the final due date is April 28th. And then the finalists will be asked a few additional questions listed down here. So that's the checklist. Just helps you keep track of this very involved scholarship, which we're really excited. And here's a photo here of one of our recipients last year's work, Austin. She established her Mind Strings violin tutoring program, and so she submitted some photos, and there's a video of her working as well. So the strategy plan, I said we get to that. It is required for the navigating ideas phase of your project, and it's just it's meant to help you consider breaking down what are your project goals, what resources are available to you, who are people that would be able to help you, and what are some specific tactics here. I want to bring attention to one of the things I've listed under tactics. It says tactics are actions that you take to achieve your goal and or to convince people to help you do so. A tactic is only effective if it's delivered in some form to a decision maker. So for example, raising awareness, we've seen that phrase a lot in students' work, and that's great, but it doesn't help unless you're raising your decision makers' awareness or using that awareness to mobilize individuals to pressure specific individuals in charge. So the tactics you choose should be reinforcing your strategies as well. So that's a form that you will download. The link, it's one of those click to start typing things. So it has all the information, but then when you click, it gets rid of our text, so you can add in your text, if that makes sense. Whoops. And like I said, optional, you may submit it early to us so we can give you feedback. and make any adjustments before you submit your final application. Otherwise, we'll just see it when you submit that final application. Another question we've received has been, what should my prototype involve? So a prototype is meant to showcase a specific action that you have taken as a result of your questions and research. So that can be a physical object or an event you've organized. You know, if you were working in an engineering department, it would be, you know, this is the thing that I have made. It's a rough version of what we'd like to see when we launch, but it doesn't have to be a physical object. We did have one student, one of our awardees last year did have a physical object. He did a prototype of a, well, let me just pull it up for you. Let's see. The invisible cane. Let's see their work. Oh, yep, there's the information on the webinar. Yeah, so Isaac made this device that would emit sound to help the blind navigate their surroundings. And so that is like a physical prototype. But others, Alexis, for her cyber citizens to teach technology to seniors, hers was partly just photos of her working with the seniors, but also she made this little paper version of a phone that she used during her classes with seniors so that they could get an idea of the layout of a phone as they were working, which we thought was really cool too. William founded OH Breathe, a wellness program, and his prototype was his logo, many folders of photos and work from the different workshops that he was running, and some descriptions that he included with those as well. Austin's, we've seen before, she sent us photos from her class. And then Brian, who was our top awardee, sent us this flyer for his group, the Warrior Dream program. This was a flyer that he put up all around his school to help gather students to his new program. And they started having meetings and he was able to build his own scholarship with the additional funds that he received as our top recipient to run his program through another iteration through the design thinking process. So those are some examples. Others, you may have seen on our website that I have shared some examples from my working on design thinking projects. So I'm a big advocate for riding bikes in my community. Last year I made a bike map for, these things keep popping up, for our community to crowdsource bike racks around our community. And that has been really cool. The city government is now using it to prepare for a bike share program and also to help direct people to where they can find bike parking in general. So that would be an example of a prototype you could use. And there's many options. Another is I presented at a city council meeting. That's what this photo is here. Sending a photo of that. There's a lot of different things that your prototype can be, but remember before that, I'm gonna bring up the project checklist one more time. Before your prototype is navigating ideas, you have looked, listened, and observed. You've asked tons of questions. You've been understanding that and analyzing that problem or process through research. You've been navigating that by making your strategy plan. So prototype is that action that you are taking to toward your project in more of a tangible way. Okay, and if you have questions, you can definitely send those to us. Oh, my kids are coming downstairs. My husband's gonna run take care of that. So I think this is our last slide. Yep. What should my video reflection involve? We've had questions on that as well. So it's the launch to an audience phase after you've fixed any issues from after your prototype. And it should be a final reflection of your work for this iteration of your project. So we would like you to make some simple edits. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but we do want you to be able to, we want to be able to see some examples of your work in action. We want to hear from your voice directly regarding your project, you know, addressing these questions. What would you improve with more time? What new skills or concepts have you acquired? What have you learned about yourself based on the experience? We'd like to hear from you on those, or be able to see kind of your answers to those as well, maybe through photos of your work in action or little snippets of video from your work in action. And then also 1 to 3, it doesn't have to be 3, it really can just be 1, that'd be fine. But just very brief interviews with people you are working with. If you go into the past winners page, Brian's video that we have included under his work is a great example there of how he's brought in a couple different people that he interviewed regarding his work so far, and that we found that very compelling to hear from them, kind of a testimonial of his work that they have witnessed as well. So and that should just be a 2 to 5 minute video. Okay, if you have other questions, please feel free to send those to us. I'm at scholarship@honorsgraduation.com. And you can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Thank you so much. Good luck. We are looking forward to seeing your work.